time to abandon ship.
Oh no!
Here we go!
Can I persuade you to join us for a drink? It's a tradition.
Here, here.
Jar Jar, homie, my main man, quickly. Before the Separatists attack, get into the escape pod.
Hey! This is escape, then we're the pod.
Welcome back to Star Wars Escape Pod and our final after show for the Acolyte Season 1, or if it is perhaps the end of the show, we'll have yet to find out. But in the meantime, it is the finale of the Acolyte, and we have a big party in the Escape Pod chatting about this week's episode, which we'll introduce to you in just a moment. And before you do, we would love 5 stars. So if you've been tuning in with us all the way, we would love if you can put a review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. It helps us out a lot. Other fans find the show, all that stuff. All right, let's get into it.
Another happy landing.
Power to everybody.
Oh, yeah.
That was supposed to come through on Bluetooth, but apparently it didn't work. All right, so we've got Kirk. Welcome back.
It's good to be back.
Good to have you back, as always. And we've got Dan. Hello.
Howdy.
Howdy. And Eli. Welcome back. It's been a while. We've haven't had you on since the Lego episode.
Good day, lads and lassies and in-betweens.
Oh, finally, we got some.
We're not doing this.
Got some
Sorry.
diversity on the show.
Well, you have to commit now.
Thank you for that. And we've got Nick. Welcome back, sir.
Hello.
And we've got Shawna.
Hi.
All right, so that's our group today, and this is the last episode. What I'm going to do here is just read a little bit about it, the description for anybody who isn't watching the show and just listening to us talk about it for some reason, and then we'll get into the bullet points. All right, so final episode 8, is called The Acolyte, and it was directed by Hanel Culpepper, written by Jason McAuliffe. This episode came out on Disney Plus July 16th, 2024. Sol takes May to Brendok and sends their location to the Jedi. Osha has a vision of May and agrees to lead Kamir to her. A mysterious figure watches the pair depart. In the ruins of the witch's fortress, Osha confronts May as Sol and Kamir fight. May disarms Sol, but chooses to let him live so that he can confess his crimes to the Jedi Council. Sol reveals that May and Osha are the same person, created through the Virgins on Brendok. He admits to killing Anasia. Osha angrily kills Sol using the Force, corrupting the Kyber crystal in his lightsaber in her hand, which turns from blue to red when she ignites the blade partway through its corruption. She and May escape before Vernestra arrives with the group of Jedi and finds Sol's body. The sisters reconcile and Osha agrees to train with Kamir. He uses the Force to wipe May's memory. And on Coruscant, the Senate grows weary of Jedi secrets and launches an investigation into the Order. Vernestra blames the murders of Torben, Indara, Kalnaka, and the witches on Sol, despite sensing Kamir's involvement. Kamir was once her apprentice, and she wants an amnesiac May's help. What the heck is that word? She wants May's help to find him. Vernestra reports to a Jedi Master, who we discover is Grand Master Yoda. So that is the episode, and that little tidbit at the end there. By the way, I don't know who wrote that, but that's speculation that Kamir is Vernestra's Padawan. But we've actually been talking about that for weeks, haven't we, Kirk?
I think wasn't it revealed that Vernestra said that it used to be her Padawan?
I forget if she actually.
Yeah, I think she said it.
Oh, did she say it?
Yeah, she said it.
Oh,
yeah.
Maybe I missed that. Sweet. Okay. Well,
Yeah,
that's
a few
cool.
episodes back, you guys were talking about it.
Yeah, we were
You're
kind of
speculating on it
speculating
based on the
scar on his back.
The scar on the back, yeah.
Right.
So it's kind of
Oh yeah,
solidifying that for
Yeah, that's what I was referring to.
that
Yeah.
as well. And I mean, even like her surprise that he's still alive. So obviously she thought she killed him in that moment too. So that's like a little interesting as well.
Yeah. And she just kind of senses his presence and goes, "You." And then
He sensed her too because he threw on his helmet immediately. So
right.
right.
Yeah, they've got that sort of ex-master and apprentice, like Kenobi Vader thing going on, where like they can sense each other from like a little while, a little far away. But now we know that the helmet also allows them to keep like a stealth kind of ability in battle sort of thing. That's really cool. I didn't really think of that, but that's pretty neat. Also, I don't know how the heck he sees out of that thing.
Yeah, no idea.
Well, no,
he uses the Force.
He doesn't though, right? Isn't that the whole thing? The whole point?
Yeah,
he doesn't.
Blocks
He
it out.
Yeah, like he can't see or hear anything.
Yeah, well, it's a sensory what do you call it? Sensory
deprivation.
Deprivation. Yeah. But I think we have one shot of Osha in like putting the helmet on, and from inside the helmet you see there's like teeny tiny eye slits, but it's like I don't think it's for anything more than aesthetic purposes. Maybe
He probably does something similar to what like Kanan Jarrus does. Is just senses what's around him.
Yeah, totally.
Right.
Yeah, I could see that happening. So the first thing I got down here is the political concern over the Jedi's power to go rogue. And this is kind of interesting because it's 100 years before Phantom Menace. And, we've seen the small lead ups to this moment. But there's a big concern that perhaps the Jedi have too much ability to, cause harm without authority, right? And one of the senators confronts Vernestra about it and says, like, look, I think the Jedi Order is just like a big culty religion that kind of just does what they want. And she really, I don't know, she didn't really seem too pleased about this guy. So I don't know, what do you guys think about this? This whole like lead up to where we find the Jedi in the prequels and how they are so implemented inside the Senate and inside the political network.
Firstly, how does this guy know about all of the secret things that have been happening in amongst like this whole show? I feel like he's not supposed to know, and how that was leaked to him, I'm curious about. But and also the fact that everybody knows that Vernestra has a stomach problem when it comes to flying. Like I thought that was going to be paid off somewhere else, but it just wasn't. It was just a constant thing that I guess everybody knows as well. Was there something in the book about that as well? I'm not sure, but like going back to the senator like knowing everything. I was a bit confused to how he found out, and if he's able to find out, wouldn't a lot of people throughout the the Senate and how the political system works know about the Jedi's failings here? It didn't make too much sense to me, but I'm not sure.
I thought it was kind of funny how he's like, oh, like there was murders and you didn't tell me, like you didn't let the Senate know. It's like, this is a whole galaxy. Like how many million murders are there a day across, a billion planets? Like, I bet you they happen all the time and nobody tells you. I thought it was, you said that he knew everything or most of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of weird. Maybe it's because it is a Jedi, right? Like maybe it's because it is somebody of influence and someone of that power. It's not often, I guess, that maybe a Jedi is mysteriously killed and or there's a streak. But he seemed surprised to find out that there was like more than one. So I thought he was there because he found that out. But I guess not.
I thought it was good that they showed that there's political pressure on the Jedi. So it showed motivation for them trying to keep it secret that something bad happened, because there's like these outside forces that are ready to pounce on their order to kind of rein them in. So it gives motive to them keeping everything hush.
I should have started off with this, but why don't we just quickly go around and just 2 sentences on like what you thought of the finale and whether or not it was what you expected or somewhat unexpected. Maybe we can start with you, Shawna.
Oh goody. I wasn't blown away by it. Like the actress, I think at some point said like it's going to be a huge finale, but I didn't feel like there was anything that was like overly surprising that happened.
Yeah, what about you, Nick?
Yeah, kind of on this. I'm thinking the same as that. I don't know. I guess I don't have too much to say actually about the finale in general, but I guess it was okay. But they had a lot of slow motion shots in this episode.
Yeah, like kung fu style.
Yeah, like the Matrix, right? Like all the slow motion. I thought they maybe because there were I think there were 3 of them, three different slow motion shots, and I think that was too much.
Too much, yeah.
That's my 2 cents on it.
Fair enough. Eli, what'd you think of the finale? And just in general, maybe just because this is the first time on the after show that audiences are kind of hearing your take on things. Maybe you can tack on to that. What'd you think of the show as a whole?
Sure. I kind of agree with Shawna. Like, there wasn't really anything super surprising there. Like, you kind of saw where it was going. And I don't know that it really pulled it all together in a way that made a lot of sense. Like, what I mean is, like, they killed off most of the main cast. So a lot of it is resting on Osha and May. And it kind of felt out of character for Osha, the one who was like said she wanted to bring her sister to justice earlier, to just kill Soul like that. And I get that they're, thematically they're trading places and they're the same person. So, but they're kind of reflecting the opposite of the other and yada, yada. But it felt kind of strange. Altogether as a show, we kind of talked in the before show, it was kind of a roller coaster. And I agreed with that too. Like, there was some really good high moments. There was some low moments. I liked a lot of the aesthetics, and some of the stuff like the helmet that he has really sticks out to me because it makes the universe feel larger. Like, unless they make it that it was made by Grandpappy Skywalker when he was running moonshine out of his land speeder back in the day. Like, thank goodness there's more to the universe than just the Skywalker family. So I like that, but mixed bag overall is kind of how I feel.
Yeah.
Grandpappy Skywalker. I'm going to use that from now on.
Awesome. Thanks for that.
New outro.
Yeah, Dan, what were your thoughts on the finale?
I thought it was pretty good. It's for like all the interviews saying like, oh, this is going to be like a final, like there's going to be a finale where like it's all done in one season. Like, I felt like that was kind of misleading. There was a lot of stuff they left over to be continued into like a further season.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of wished it was like maybe longer and had more answers instead of like leaving it. It's like we didn't get the backstory on Quimera and his master. Like, what's her name? The bald Jedi.
Yeah, Vernestra.
We didn't get that backstory. Yeah, Vernestra. And, like, we never even saw. She didn't even take out her whip again. Like, we just saw it in the beginning of the series, and like never again. So it's like
you're hoping to see more of that whip. Got to pick up the comic books.
It's a cool weapon. Why not? Okay. Like, but for the most part, I enjoyed it. There's some cool fight scenes. There's like the sets and everything were really cool. It was better than the two preview, the young flashbacks were like with the young kids.
Yeah.
But yeah, it could have been even more epic. Like everybody else seems to agree. Like they're expecting like a big, more explosive finale, but.
Yeah, I hate to look back and regret that they wasted an entire episode, but they kind of did. If they didn't plan it out the way that they did, with the story being told from a you don't know what sort of happens next sort of thing, and they did an entire episode from a certain point of view, and then they did an entire other episode from a different point of view, and it was like 2 episodes that were telling the same story, and they could have done it all in one, right? And they just didn't. So they could have just lengthened out the one episode, and episode 3 never needed to happen. But they could have given themselves more real estate time to, I don't know, make the show better or longer, or at least cut out the fluff. And but it was all done for the stylistic choice of telling that mysterious kind of mystery. Yeah, Kirk, what do you think about this final episode?
Well, I quite enjoyed the fight scene. I actually was like, oh wow, there's some really cool moments there that I enjoyed. But similarly, I guess I could say that I'm not the sole person to not have loved this episode.
Pun intended.
I see what you did there.
Yes. That's my review for now.
So this show,
and mainly because of Soul as well, actually.
yeah. This show is kind of, when we went into this show, I had high expectations, and I was like, I feel like we should expect a lot from a show that's like opening up to a lot of people, this new era to them, and it's coming at them in live action, and this is a new piece of Star Wars in the time frame of things to a lot of people, because perhaps they haven't played Jedi Survivor or read any of those books or whatever. The High Republic era is something new to a lot of people. So I was hoping that it would be really good out of the door, right out of the gate. And it's been a little challenging to see it sort of get the feedback that it has. And I'm a little worried that we're not going to get any more stuff based in this time period, which sucks, because like it's a really cool time period. And that's sort of the one regret. And that's why I hope that if this story does continue to any means at all, that we don't necessarily get a second season to this show, but we do get some sort of show that kind of tells us the aftermath of things and then just keeps going in a different direction, right? Sort of in a positive way, right? Because I don't know, I feel like we could definitely get a sequel to Solo, and yet that's never going to happen. So, you know, how they continued that story through other material like comic books, games. There's a new game coming out in like 1 month called Outlaws, and that's going to sort of also carry on the story a little bit with Kira and you know, so on and so forth. So I feel like there's other ways that they can kind of give us sort of the wrap up on like how things ended up with Osha and Kamir, and I don't really know what to think of all that yet, because in my head it doesn't quite make sense with this coexisting with this fish hook that they threw in this episode, which leads me to my next point, which is Darth Plagueis, you know, showing up in a cave, spying on them, is what it looked like to me, and keeping out of sight. And I've read the Darth Plagueis novel a while ago, and you know, Kamir is obviously not a character in that book, and was trying to think like where this show would fit into the time frame of things, with if you did take that book and that story and consider it as much of canon as possible, like where does it make sense to kind of have that character show up? And you know, I was really happy. Like I saw this scene, I was like, oh my goodness, like that's really cool. And then the more I think about it, I'm like, but it also just almost makes no sense to throw it in there on the very last, like it's like it's like 11:59 p.m. you know, and we get one little snippet and that's it. And it's like, dude, like we've been speculating that there's been stuff involving Plagueis for a while, right? But to just fish hook him in there for one little cameo appearance and then not do anything with it, like I think in that way it was like a bit of a failed attempt at just trying to please fans rather than actually have a purposeful serving of the story, because it only serves the story if there's actually like an in-story reason why he's there. It's like but we still don't have any kind of any in-story reason as to what his relationship is with Kamir. We don't even know Kamir's actual name, if that is his name, right? So like I think my disappointment comes from that the highlights of this show to me was the villains, and we just still don't know enough about them.
Well, like just on that, the scene was super quick too. Do you think that was added in like later, like considering how late it was, just waiting to hear what the fans said and just to put it in, like as you said, like a fan service? Do you think that could have been edited in just last minute?
Well, so to me, he looked like this was all CG, and at least to me, it looked that way, and it looked really good. But it didn't look like it was like a last minute thing. It looked like it was planned out to have some appearance of this character, and with the story having involved the planet that they're on, and you know, among other little tidbits and stuff, it's sort of been pointing the compass towards this character. But to have him show up and have no impact on the story at all, to me was a little bit shocking. I thought in the final 5 minutes of this episode we would get some more from that character, and you know, he would come out and I don't know, kill Osha or something, or I don't know, who knows, right? Like do something, and it just got nothing out of it. So now it just leaves me with a lot of questions. Yeah, do something. Like it was really cool to see him though. I was really happy because you know, I've been wanting to see this character show up for so long. So don't get me wrong, I was stoked. But
do you know who when I saw him in the cave first in the shadows, I mean, I knew exactly who it was, but for some reason he just reminded me of a really dark version of that character from the Battlefront 2 campaign. What's his name? He's the alien along with Iden Versio. I'll grab his name and I'll bring it up in a second. But he just looks like his character. I guess Plagueis is supposed to kind of look like that as well.
Yeah. What's his name again?
I'm trying to find. I'll bring it up in a moment. When I
talking about
find
that
it,
Duros?
I'll shout it out.
You're talking about the Duros?
He's like the blue creature.
Yeah, the Duros. Yeah. See, and that's what Cad Bane is supposed to look like.
Right. Yeah, Shriv. That's his name.
Yeah.
Shriv Sergav. He looked like him. And I thought it was like a dark version of him when I first saw him, just because of the eyes and stuff. But I think you're totally right. You're someone that's read the novels. I haven't read them yet, but I'd be like, why on earth you just bring him right at the end? Like, what's the point of this?
Right.
Like, it's just like trying to get people excited for a second season that may not happen. And
and
it's almost like they've got
when they were campaigning this show, they literally said like, there he is. They literally said this isn't supposed to go into a second season, which kind of leads me to be like, what the heck then, right? I've got a little audio clip that I sent you, Kirk, a few days ago, because of this scene. I've started re-listening to the audiobook for Darth Plagueis, and I just took out a little snippet, which kind of got my senses.
Taste buds tickling.
Taste buds tickling. Yeah, let's go with that. Let's go with that. All right, let's take a quick listen here. 1 second. There we go.
But the Force had only
It's
advised.
a big build-up.
It had neither dictated his actions nor guided his hands. That had been his doing alone. He knew from his travels with and without Tenebris that he wasn't the galaxy's sole practitioner of the dark side, nor Sith for that matter, since the galaxy was rife with pretenders. But he was now the only Sith Lord descended from the Bane line, a true Sith, and that realization roused the raw power coiled inside him. And yet, when he reached out with the Force, he could detect the presence of something or some being of near equal power. Was it the dark side itself, or merely a vestige of his uncertainty? He had read the legends of Bane, how he had been hounded by the lingering presences of those he had defeated in order to rid the Sith Order of infighting, and return the Order to a genuine hegemony by instating the rule of two, a master to embody power, an apprentice to crave it. To hear it told, Bane had even been hounded by the spirits of generations dead Sith Lords, whose tombs and manses he had desecrated in his fervent search for holocrons and other ancient devices offering wisdom and guidance. Was Tenebris' spirit the source of the power he sensed? Was there a brief period of survival after death, during which a true Sith could continue to influence the world of the living? It was as if the mass of the galaxy had descended on him. A lesser being might have heaved his shoulders, but Plaguies, wedged into his clandestine tomb, felt as weightless as he would have in deep space. He would outlive any who challenged him.
All right, so I really like that little clip because it acknowledged within the story that the Sith know that there's other kind of pretenders out there. And when Kamir first introduces himself, when his mask is taken off and revealed, it seems like he very casually introduces himself as a Sith. He doesn't quite outright say it or anything like that. He just says like, well, someone like you might call me Sith. He doesn't really embrace it like a self-identity, even though he fights like a Sith and looks like one. But now we know that he has some Jedi history to him. Perhaps a lot of those skills just come from being a Jedi on the way to being a Sith. So I don't really know what that little scene is indicating. Maybe Plagueis has been eyeing Kamir as a potential, other apprentice of some sort, or perhaps he's tracked him down because he was perhaps on a list of potential beings that his master had. And there's a lot of speculation to go around there with that, but I don't know. Has anyone in this group read that story, Darth Plagueis, or familiar with anything along those lines?
Still on my reading list.
Still on your reading list. Okay, well, it was definitely one of the best stories out there for Star Wars books. I would say it's probably in my top 3, easily. I don't know if it's like my favorite or not, but it's definitely in the top 3. And it makes The Phantom Menace like 10 times better as a movie that's already really great. Like it makes it better. This book, it's crazy. So definitely recommend reading it, especially after seeing this scene now. It's not like the book is not canon or anything, but it's worth just kind of knowing the history of where this character's coming from and what his motives are and all that stuff. So, but I'm glad that they kept the visual depiction of him being immune, like MUUN. It's like the banking clan people. That guy Sandhill.
Yeah.
He shows up in episode 2. The banking clan will sign your treaty. One of those guys. So the duels in this episode were awesome. Do you guys like the duels?
Yeah.
Definitely. Hands down. They did a really good job.
Nick is like, no, they suck. Too many slow-mos. Too many
I like
slow-mos.
them with the exception of the slow motion. Yeah. There was one I was like, okay, that's a bit odd. Star Wars doesn't usually do slow motion stuff. And then there was another one. I was like, And I think there was a third one. I was like, oh my god.
They kind of set that tone early on though in like the season when it was like one of the very first scenes in the series, and that's literally what they're doing is slow motion. And like immediately I was like, this gave me Matrix vibes, like right like that. So I guess the only thing that when it came out of the fight scenes that I thought was interesting was that Kamir didn't try to use his helmet or his bracer as much as he had in the other fights.
Yeah.
He was trying.
Yeah, that surprised me.
He was trying to though, right? Because at one point he was trying to pull Soul's lightsaber into his helmet.
Right.
But then Soul like turned it off and like kind of like went under and stuff and like got out of it.
Yeah. He learned.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is good. Seeing Soul beat Kamir was very, very cool. There was some
That was awesome.
Unique choreography.
And then he got bested.
Yeah, and then he got bested.
So easily.
Like what the heck?
By the Padawan.
But
oh my god, don't yeah.
So
He let his guard down on that one.
yeah, I think he did. I think and like I was chatting with you and Kirk on this on direct message. Maybe we can all go around and say what we think happened here. But I think that he like kind of let that happen, and I'm gonna stand by that. Dan, what'd you think happened in that scene?
I agree with you. I think he he was kind of surrendering to her, and then even at the end, like, he's like, go ahead and like, then he basically tell her, go ahead and finish him.
He said it's okay.
Yeah, he said it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that what your thoughts are, Eli? You think he let it happen?
Yeah, that's the vibe I was getting. He's, not getting the justice in the way that he should have by facing the Jedi, but that he was getting some kind of comeuppance for his actions.
Yeah. Kirk, what's your thoughts when looking back at this scene?
Yeah, I see that that's what his intention was. I just totally don't buy his like logical or like, irrational reasoning for wanting to give in, because like for me, watching the flashback, seeing what was played out, it was like not abundantly clear that he accidentally killed the mother, the mother, and he felt so much guilt. I guess he has a lot of guilt for wanting to go back and take the kids out of their home, but I don't think it was justified from what I saw. And like when mother, or I can't remember her name, not Anastasia, is that right? Anastasia, yeah. When she, Anastasia, there you go. When she jumped him, or it looked like she jumped him, and then like May started to disappear from what I saw on the screen. So I think it was pretty decent reasoning. And he didn't even explain that to Osha when she came up. Like, didn't get to say the full story. So I don't know. I think a lot of my problems with how this show, like the third act of this show, turned out was a lot of like Soul's decisions, and how Soul's character just like went all over the place with what he decided to do and say. And I felt it was the main problem I had with this interaction, I guess. And as he was, but like I agree, like he gave himself in at the end, and he let Osha force choke him. But I just felt like it wasn't kind of justified for it. And I guess it's subjective. Like it's just how I saw it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fair. What about you? What about you guys?
Yeah, I think I agree with like he didn't fight it, like partly because it was a surprise, I guess, right? Like, I mean, I don't know how easy it is to get out of being force choked, but who knows? And I guess like for a while, like the audience didn't know who was doing it, and then we realized Osha was doing it, and then maybe Soul also didn't realize who was doing it. But then at the same time, I don't think he was ever gonna like kill Osha to save himself.
Right. No. Yeah.
So he just let himself get killed, I guess.
It sounded like when she force choked him, it sounded like he was saying what he was leading up to saying is like he did all these things because he loved her. Like that's what it sounded like he was about to say. And then right when you catch the L, and then it just cuts off and she starts choking him.
Yeah. Oh, that's okay. So Soul has been cut off from saying what he wants to say like this whole show, and I think we've all been talking
and
about
he dies
it, like,
that way too.
And he died. And there was an earlier part of the episode where it happened where May who like she's like tasers him when he was about to say something, and then he dies also about to say something. It's like his whole thing.
It was
like,
fate.
Yeah.
Oh,
it had to happen.
That was getting really annoying. I remember like pointing that out like a week or two ago. It's like, oh man, I'm so done with this. Like, just I don't know. It almost seemed like they were dragging it on like way too far.
Yeah. It's like the trope in a show where someone's about to say something really important, and then they get like stabbed or something. But then it happened to him like 10 times. Yeah.
Like lying on your deathbed and with your loved ones around. He's like, $1 million is in the
Do you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of Shrek 3 when the king was about spoilers for Shrek 3 if you haven't seen Shrek 3.
Aside from you, there is only one remaining heir.
Really? Who is he, Dad?
His name is...
What's his name? What's his name?
Daddy!
His name is...
But it's
So
like
good.
when the frog is about to die, and like he just doesn't die. He eventually spills out what he wants to say.
Yeah.
But like and I only make this reference because I watched Shrek 3 last night because I was reminded of the scene.
His name is.
Oh, you shouldn't have said that. I was like, man, that's a deep cut. Like, you just won with that.
Such
Scratch
a
that
good
bit.
scene. Yeah, I love that scene so much. On a completely non-Star Wars related note,
But
I'm
like-
so stoked for Shrek 5.
Yeah, me too. Actually, the one more thing with Soul, like he doesn't get to say like what he wants to say, but then when he does talk, it's just like like when he was screaming May's name, or was it Osha's name? No, I think it was May's name throughout the when they went back to Brendok. I'm just like, man, like be quiet. Like if you're trying to take out May, like stop screaming. Like he was like he did like the typical villain trope, like in a movie where the villain's about to be defeated. And I guess he is kind of the villain in the end, I guess from a certain point of view.
Yeah, they sort of villainized the character a little bit, yeah, didn't they?
Sorry, before we move on, just one thing. I liked Saul's character, but throughout the whole show, it always kind of kept nagging at me. It seemed like he was, for most of the show, like most of the shots, he was in some sort of distressed state of mind. And like, I hate to say it, but I almost feel like he was overacting a little bit in some areas.
Right.
When he was like out of breath, like he's like, oh my God, like all this, something bad is happening. And that it felt like he was in that state of mind almost all the time throughout the whole show. And it seemed to be a bit much.
Yeah, definitely. Also, welcome Kyle, just popped in. Hello, sir.
Hello.
Oh, he's muted.
I think he's still working on the whip lightsaber.
Yeah,
he's
maybe.
deep in thought.
Deep in thought, trying to figure out what to say. All right, well, he'll be on.
There we go.
Oh, there we go. There we go. Hey, how's it going?
There we go. Sorry about that.
No problem. Hey, Kyle, what did you think of the finale?
Not bad. I gotta be honest. Okay, episode 4 was probably the best they had in the whole series.
Yeah, you mean like the big duel, or?
Oh yeah, was it episode 5 then? It was
5,
either
yeah.
episode 4 or episode 5 was the only good. Yeah, that was the only really good episode. The rest of them, man, it was. I gotta be honest. I really love Star Wars, but this was hard to watch.
Really?
Are you saying episode 5 was the Soul good episode?
Yeah, episode 5 was definitely the episode, man.
So, with your thoughts on the finale, though, do you think that this was I guess, would you just like as an independent episode, would you say it was a good or a bad episode within the context of everything else you've seen so far?
I gotta be honest, I didn't enjoy it. I really didn't. I just found everything to be so confusing and just timelines aren't matching up. And it's like they just took it and they threw together a story and they were like, here, just feed this to them. They'll eat it up. And there was just way too much that I just didn't understand.
Yeah, gotcha.
Like how are people the age that they're the age of? And then you got stuff like, oh, the Sith haven't been around for millennia. Well, there's a Sith right there and you're fighting the guy. Like they're there.
So,
I don't know. It's just there was way too much confusing.
What I liked about this that though, like what you just mentioned, is at least this show successfully did what I thought it would do, and that is kill every witness that fought Khmer. Now I don't really know how that affects the relationship between him and Vernestra Rowe, who knows that Khmer is out there floating around doing whatever he's doing, but at least all those who saw him wield a red lightsaber, wearing a black cloak and wearing a helmet, is all dead. So and then May has her mind wiped, and the only other person who knows about this is Osha, who is now his apprentice. So at least they kind of successfully delivered a non kind of loophole weirdness where Ki-Adi-Mundi is pretty insistent on, the Jedi haven't existed or the Sith haven't existed for like 1,000 years. And yet, there's my worry was that this show would end and there were going to be Jedi out there that do know about this event, and just somehow the news just didn't get to Ki-Adi-Mundi in 100 years, or I guess he's alive at this point in time as well. But yeah, that was my biggest concern, and at least they kind of covered it up. But I don't know.
This is also
and Vernestra.
Sorry. This is also an instance where a maybe seemingly throwaway line from a movie has drastically affected future projects, and they're like, oh, we gotta make sure to keep this all the same, right? Because with the Obi-Wan Kenobi, it's like, oh, the line has to be right when he says oh, it's been a while since I've seen you, or whatever line he says. And then he's everyone, it has to be like the right way, and that's like what everyone was talking about the whole show. And then in Clone Wars, like Anakin could never meet Grievous because of some random thing he says.
Oh yeah, I thought you would be taller.
Yeah. And then they had to make sure he never. And Grievous is like a main character of that show, and so they have to make sure they never met. And like, it's like you have to work so hard, to make everything line up perfectly. It seemed like this was also kind of like that, where like, okay, no one can know that this Sith guy ever existed, but he has to exist, or otherwise there wouldn't be a story to tell. Because like everything being good for 1,000 years isn't a story.
But also in the movie too, not long after Mundy says that, like, doesn't Yoda also say something along the lines of like clouded the dark side is, like we don't like basically like we don't actually know. But then I guess if we're assuming that this is him at the end of this episode, that could be,
I thought that was Yaddle.
It also could be Yaddle. That was my other thought.
Yaddle.
But then my chances are
sorry.
I was like, it could be. But then that may also tie into like why he says that, because he has experience knowing about that, but it's not something he shared with anyone else outside of Anestra.
Yeah, right. What were you gonna say? Eli?
This ties into it again. Like they have shown that like Vanestra does keep secrets, and she doesn't, tell people, be they politicians or other Jedi, like what's going on. So it obviously made it look like she's going to tell Yoda at the end, but she could also be the kind of person who keeps it to herself.
Right.
And like you said, with killing the characters, like in the show's defense, I thought that was really ballsy in episode 4 or 5 or whatever it was, when they killed Yord and Jackie. Like, I don't know. I didn't think they'd have the balls to do that. And then they did. And I was pretty impressed with that.
You know what? I got something to say about that. Like when they killed them all, when they killed everybody, like how do you explain that to the council? Oh, we were just out on this planet. Frick, everybody's dead. Yeah, don't worry about it. There's no Sith.
Yeah, I think that's just it though, right? Because Vernestra's the one that's sort of, she's the only one who is.
She's hiding everything.
She's hiding everything. Yeah, she is kind of seeing all these, and her little weasel friend who works at the temple, that nasally sounding Jedi. Like her and him. They're
oh my god! Wait, hang on. Wait, speaking of weasels, Basil. What's Basil doing?
Dude, I don't know. I don't know what's up with Basil, man. I don't know what's up with Basil. He's like he went villain. He went full on villain at the end.
Why Basil knows that is not May. Sorry, that is not Osha. He knew that it was May, and he doesn't like May, and then he decides to sabotage Soul's ship. Like, why?
Dude, he just I
don't get it.
He had his own like mini rebellion.
I was like, did I miss something?
His own Star Wars arc fully in that one show.
I think he was trying to stop Soul from murdering May, which I didn't quite understand why he was trying to kill her while he was chasing her through that asteroid field. Like
maybe because he like kind of knew that Soul didn't get to tell her everything he wanted to, because she did interrupt him again, right? So maybe that was his way to try and be like, oh wait, no, we need to give her a second chance. But I don't know.
What a menace.
Basil is a menace. I was rooting for Basil last episode, and then I wanted to buy the pot plant that they released, but now I don't know what to do.
You know what's also funny is like at the very end he gets so much disrespect. Like at the very end, somebody, I think it was Vernestra, like says to the other her little person, her friend, like, oh, use the tracker or something like that. Like not even referring to him by his name. Like just use the tracker. Just like, where's that furry creature that sniffs everything around?
It also just popped out of nowhere.
Do you know what this sets up?
What's that?
This sets up Basil, a Star Wars story.
Oh, jeez.
Oh,
no. See, now that's the adjacent show that I don't want to see.
It's gonna be worse.
It'll be the next holiday special. It'll be Basil's family.
Oh no.
Basil, cilantro,
chive.
Osha's path and May giving herself up. This was before that, Osha bleeding the Kyber crystal was very cool, and just thought I'd throw that out there. Nothing we've seen before in live action, only something we've seen in comic books and heard of and read about in books. But this was the first time this made an appearance on
they did
screen.
it in the video game Survivor too.
That's true, actually. Yeah,
they did it in the video game Survivor too.
Yeah, you're totally right.
The one-armed guy bleeds it right in front of you.
Right. Yeah, he kind of unsuccessfully bleeds it, I guess, because it doesn't go fully red. It's like, doesn't it go like orangey or something?
Kind of an orange.
Yeah. But yeah, this was a really cool scene to see. And then Osha's path, right after that event, and May giving herself up, and Kamir mind wiping May, and that whole kind of twist at the end where we thought May was headed as trying to get to that position of being a Sith apprentice. It's like Osha kind of just finishes that journey, and then May is like tossed aside. And maybe we can start with you, Kirk. Like, what did you think of that? Because I know that you had a harder time buying that whole twist at the end there.
Yeah, I don't understand why May had to be mind wiped. I feel like also that the two characters had that switch, and May didn't rebel against Osha's turn and see the evil deed that she was doing. Like she wanted Sol to stand on trial and to pay for his crimes, and then she kind of just stood back and let her sister kill Sol in front of her. So I feel like there was no character confrontation between the two of them there, and I just found the whole scene a little bit difficult to really buy, as well with what I was saying before, how Sol didn't protest against or get to finally say like the exact truth of what happened. So yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe I missed a few things.
Yeah. What did you think about that one, Kyle?
I just didn't like how that kind of played out, to be honest with you. Like the good girl turns bad, the bad girl turns good. Like I just didn't. I gotta be honest, man. I really love Star Wars. This is the first time I'm gonna say it. I didn't like any of it. The way it played out in the end. Everybody's arc turning so quickly in the very end. I just wasn't a fan.
Yeah. If only Basil had
It
stayed
feels
a
like
good
that's
guy.
something that they had.
No.
Would have fixed everything if Basil was just a better character. I'm just kidding. No, I totally get what you're saying, Kyle. Though, a lot of people have had that feedback.
Yeah, I just didn't like it. Like what I was kind of hoping was that you'd see you'd find out the crimes that were committed and everything. And but then it's how do they keep it all hidden? So I mean, I guess they kept it all hidden and everything. But at the same time, the Jedi weren't acting as Jedi. They were acting like little children trying to keep secrets from their mom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's totally intentional as part of the story too, right? Like that's, but I guess it's maybe a little tougher to watch in a show, and to accept it as part of the story is also a whole nother thing. But I get it. Dan, what'd you think about it? About this twist at the end here?
I like the idea of it. I didn't think they quite earned it. Like it just seemed kind of quick, like how quickly Osha turned to the dark side.
Yeah.
And like my biggest issue with the whole series is I didn't think what the Jedi did was really that bad. Like everything was a mistake. He didn't it was weird that he's killed the mom with a lightsaber, but I don't think he like directly intended to. And I think he could have, if he just explained it to the council, they would have been like, okay, that sucks. We'll punish you for a little bit and then you'll be fine. And then like they didn't mean to kill all the witches. They just, that was just some weird circumstance of them being all linked up. And like I just didn't think it was that big of a thing to like try to cover it up. And like it's like, oh, this terrible thing happened. I'm like, okay, accidentally killed a bunch of this cult on this planet that like nobody knew about. Like just go talk to the council and say what happened and everything would have been. It's just I didn't buy that whole thing as being that bad.
Yeah, fair enough. What about you, Eli?
Yeah, it felt like they had it planned out, like thematically. I can see that they're opposites and then they switch, and it feels like they had that planned out, but they didn't have the roadmap to get there until like, oh no, we're on their last episode. Quick, character development.
Yeah.
So I feel like they didn't really stick the landing on that part.
Right. Yeah. No, I totally agree. I mean, it's unfortunate that, and this kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier. It's unfortunate that they burned so much time on like the mystery aspect of the show, which ended up not being that successful, and more so that they backed themselves up into a corner where they had to wrap up the show in like what felt like one episode, and didn't really have the payoff I think what they were hoping. But I think given more time for this character to be more corrupted by Kamir or by sort of the wrongdoings or whatever, or if they even made the image of the Jedi look even worse, to get back to what Dan was saying about how it's like, it doesn't look like they really did anything that bad. If they spent more time from that angle, I think it could have been a lot better. But as far as like just kind of taking it as it is, like I personally didn't mind it all that much. I thought the idea that Osha was able to sort of come around and all of a sudden she's she just has this moment of anger. It was hard to believe that she killed her master for all that stuff, but at the same time, I thought it was interesting that she does kind of go down that dark path. Yeah, and
I feel like if she found out like an episode I feel like if she found out like an episode or two ago, like we've known for such a long time, and it feels like they were still like playing it up like it was a mystery, but like we've known for a while, or maybe it just feels like that as an audience member. Maybe I'm tricking myself, but if she found out before that he killed her mom and had time to stew on it and was finding out more and more lies and how they hid stuff and just got like madder and madder and madder, then it wouldn't feel so sudden, and then you could like see how she would be turning and maybe corrupt the Kyber crystal.
Yeah, like as if
it's too weird that a Jedi. It's too weird that a Jedi has like an off day and it's like, screw it, I'm a Sith.
Yeah. You know what? It brings me back to, I always talk about Fast and Furious on this podcast for some reason, but I have this theory that Fast and Furious and Star Wars would make the ultimate funny crossover ever. But there's this really great line in the fourth movie where
please explain. How's that?
I need to do a full episode on why this makes sense to me. But anyway, okay. So in the fourth Fast and Furious movie,
we can then somehow connect it to Shrek.
Yeah. So in the fourth Fast and Furious movie, there's like Brian O'Connor's boss. He he has a moment at his coworker. He's like super pissed off, so he like takes his face and slams him into the wall and breaks his nose, and his name's Stosniak, the other guy, and his boss comes up to him. He's like, son, you know the differences between a cop and a criminal? One bad judgment call. And I think like the Sith and the Jedi are similar in almost every way, right? Like that's what Sidious says to Anakin. So like on the one hand, like yes, it seems a little extreme to go from one side to the other really that quickly, but on the other hand, if you look at it from a different angle, you can almost kind of see that there is actually a much finer line than what the rest of Star Wars stories have led us as viewers to believe. And at the end of the day, to the average citizen who's minding their own business, walking out there in the galaxy, people in Andor, right? Like the civilians of the world who are living in a galaxy that is politically being manipulated and overpowered by these, religious fanatic people, either the Jedi or the Sith, and they're constantly at war with each other, and everyone else is affected by it. And so like it's one of those things I think like, okay, well, from the one hand, like it's hard to believe, on the other hand, maybe not so much. But I guess it's just a
is that I don't think we've mentioned it yet, and I don't want to point fingers or anything, but I feel like either the script or Amanda Stenberg's like delivery of this character, and I feel like she just had a poker face throughout the whole show for both of the characters, and her range just wasn't enough for me to buy it, at least. And maybe that's due to the script, or maybe that's just due to how she portrayed the character, but I feel like that has something to do with the fact that I didn't quite buy her rapid turn in the end. I'm not sure.
You know what would have been really great is if who was it? Who somebody mentioned it just now, but like her kind of more things that she discovers along the way. But that would have been a really good idea if she had kind of uncovered lie after lie after lie through like all of her time around Soul and these other Jedi and throughout the episodes. Like as we as an audience discover things, it would have been really great if she also discovered those things, and then it gets to the point where she's at a breaking point in that finale episode, and then we can easier kind of click into place why she's like so angry, right? Because it's like the last straw, right? And with the prequel movies, like a lot of people struggled with Anakin's turn. It's like, okay, like, your wife's potentially going to die. Like, why murder like, all these kids and do what you did. But I think if anyone's seen the Clone Wars, like you kind of have an easier time accepting that because you've had time to see this character evolve and transform. And you've also seen all these reasons that he's super ticked off at the Jedi, right? And I think in one of the episodes when Obi-Wan goes undercover as Racco Hardin, the bounty hunter, he says something like, how many other lies have I been told by the council? And he just kind of storms off, and he's just like so mad all the time because it feels like nobody trusts him, right? He just feels like they're always kind of scheming, and he falls under the influence of like the Joker, scheming, I think he's the Harvey Dent of Star Wars.
Yeah, I think even in the prequels, though, like we see Anakin lose his mother, we see him deny the rank of master, we see him have difficulties with the council and other issues throughout, and fall in love with Padme, which are all elements of the dark. I think it's still kind of drip fed, but like, with this one, Osha is just like, she's told all of this stuff right at the end. Yeah. And I think it would have been really interesting if she knew the truth and then went to the island with Kimia and had time to really soak that in then, and then come back and confront Soul.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I feel like they kind of started planting some seeds for that early on. Like when she first sees Yord, she's like, "Oh, my buddy Yord," and he's kind of like, "Yeah, no, I don't know you. You're below me. You're out of the Jedi."
He was kind of a dick, wasn't he?
And then there was,
He's kind of a holier than thou kind of guy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The Yord horde.
And then they had that thing, I can't remember who said it, but there was a line where they were talking about Jackie too, and it's like, yeah, like she's gonna grow into them also. So I feel like if they stuck with that and showed more about how she was rejected from everybody in the Jedi except Sol, and then he, lied to her and killed her mother and kind of betrayed her like that, I think that would do it more. But they kind of dropped, like, I thought it was ballsy of them to kill Yord and Jackie, but then they kind of dropped him. Like, we never hear about them again. Nobody seems to care that much that they're dead.
Mm-hmm.
It felt like a missed opportunity there.
Right. It felt like a missed opportunity as well for Vernestra to bring bodies like that back to the temple, and then everyone at the temple being like, okay, what the heck? What's going on here? It's like it's a community of people there. You'd think that somebody would be missing. So I'm wondering, what's the cover-up story for everyone else at the temple if they're covering their own butts like to the Senate? Is it that everyone in the order knows, or is it that just the select few know and everyone else is being told a different story, or like, what's going on there, right? So yeah.
Well, didn't they blame it on Sol at the end? They said Sol killed them.
Yeah, they blamed it on Sol at the end, and I guess that's the story that they feed to the Senate, but in the Senate hearing. But it almost maybe the other Jedi are told that story too, right? And I think that has something to do.
And supposedly feed it to Yoda as well.
Right.
That was hinted.
Yeah,
What's
exactly.
Yoda gonna think about this? Yoda's not bad.
Well, that, or maybe I hate to think that Yoda was maybe the
I think
one
she
that
tells Yoda the truth.
Maybe. I hate to think that Yoda instigated that whole thing, but because that definitely seems like something that,
unless that was Yaddle,
Vernestra would
could have been Yaddle. I don't know.
Yaddle, mastermind behind everything. Yeah. Okay. So let's see. I'm trying to
tell them they all got food poisoning.
Yeah.
Too many death sticks.
So yeah, Vernestra is she reminded me of like a Mace Windu-like character, speaking on behalf of the council constantly through this whole show. She's the stoic one of the bunch. A bit more on the, what I would consider a bit of like a self-righteous kind of her own, corrupted thinking, it's just like, I don't know what's going through her head, but at the same time, it's interesting to see how far this character has fallen, because we know from a lot of the novels that this character was quite a prodigy when she was younger. She was the first ever in her generation to be knighted at the age of 15. So she was like super skilled, and she's got a whip saber, so like she has all these crazy skills, and very talented, and obviously on the council as well now at this point in time. And so she's got a lot of like self-authority that she kind of walks around with, and she's constantly chin held high, and makes me think, I don't know what show or story is coming next that'll reveal the fate for this character, but I hope that this character gets what's coming to her, and I think it'll be like a weird satisfaction of payoff, rooting for a bad guy to kill off a good guy, right? It's kind of interesting to think about. But
yeah, I can't wait until Mace Windu shows up.
That's my seat. So that was Puppet Yoda at the very end there. If anyone else noticed that.
Oh yeah, noticed right away.
Yeah.
Noticed right away, especially compared to Plaguies, who I thought looked really cool for the record, but I was like, so no Puppet Plaguies.
Right. Yeah, no Puppet Plagueis. This was left very open-ended. This show left us with a bunch of questions, and two of them that stuck out to me was, how does it work with Osha in a world with Plagueis now, where she's an acolyte to Khmer, who is still, we don't really know what he is, and Plagueis is running around out there as well. Like, how does this show fit into the grand scheme of things, and also where are things going to go with Vernestra and Yoda and that whole relationship she has with Khmer? Was there any other questions that you guys had that were kind of unanswered in this finale?
Yeah, why does this show exist?
What a downer.
No, I'm kidding.
I'm kind of wondering if Plagueis learns, his powers from this incident, like from May and Osha and the Virgences, if that's how he, becomes Darth Plagueis the Wise, who can keep people from dying in Master's death.
Right. Yeah. I wonder. Because of course, like, this is all new to the canon now. So like, I don't really, it's hard to speculate on something where they've, changed all the time zones around as to like what's happening at what point in time. But yeah, Kyle, what did you have any questions that were kind of like lingering wondering when the show ended?
No, it was just so bad. I was just like glad it was over.
All right. Well, with that said, we're gonna do some
got through it.
Pablo points and poodoos. Okay, so Pablo points and poodoos is our rating system on the podcast. 3 Pablo poodoos is the worst of the worst of the worst. Moving up from there, you got 2 Pablo poodoos, 1 Pablo poodoo, and a bendu. A bendu is a 50%. And you got Pablo points. 1 Pablo point is good, 2 Pablo points is great, and 3 Pablo points is the best of the best. So we can start with you, Eli. What did you think about this one? What's your score?
Oh geez. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. I'm pretty much right in the middle. So, you know what? Sorry, Kyle, I'm going to offset your negativity here and go 1 over 50%. One Pablo.
1 Pablo point. All right.
I've understood correctly.
Nick, what'd you give this?
Yeah, nothing really stood out. It was decent. I'm gonna give it 1 poodoo.
1 poodoo. Okay. All right, Shawna, what did you think of this?
And I was like, it's eh. That's where I'm gonna go with it. So I'm just gonna say it's a bendu.
Bendu. Okay. Kyle.
2 poodoo. I didn't like it at all.
2 poodoo. Whoa.
Even
all right.
Yeah, even the lightsabers, and then when they busted out the whip lightsaber, I was like,
Also,
they didn't even make it look good.
By the way, Kyle, I don't have record of episodes 7 and 6 for you. What were your ratings for episodes 7 and 6?
I'll go 1 poodoo for them. Yeah.
For each?
I just didn't like it.
All right. Oh yeah, and Shawna, what was your rating for episode 7?
That was a flashback, right?
Yep. No, that was.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. Yeah. Or was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. 1.5 poodoo.
1.5 poodoo. Okay.
Yeah.
Same for you, Nick.
Oh, yeah.
6 and 7 for you. Missing.
6 and 7. Okay. What was 6?
This is the one where she puts the helmet on at the end and then it cuts out. So basically, he takes it.
Yeah.
We see like the island. That's the nude scene one.
I forgot about that. 3 Pablo
that
points.
adds a couple of points.
You know, I'll give it a bendu for 6 and 1 poodoo for 7.
Bendu for 6 and 1 poodoo for 7.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Kirk. What's your scores?
Because of what happened to Basil and Sol's inability to speak his mind, I was without those. I was going to give it a 1 poodoo, but because of that, I will give it a 1.5 poodoo points.
1.5 poodoo points for the finale.
Pablo poodoos.
Okay. All right.
1.5 Pablo poodoos.
Dang. All right. Dan.
I will bring balance to the Force. Even though I had quibbles with the episode, I still thoroughly enjoyed it, so I'm going to give it 2 Pablos.
2 Pablo points. All right.
That definitely brings balance.
That's quite high. Yeah. Yeah. I personally, I thought this episode was it was good. It wasn't great, and I didn't dislike it. There was a few things I could have maybe, I would have changed personally, but I don't know. I feel like I'd seen a lot worse, so I'll give it 1 Pablo point. And I think that's pretty much, is that everyone on the corner? Yeah, I think we got everybody right now. Eli, if you want to run through it might be tricky to remember which one was which, but what was your Pablo points and poodoos for episodes 1 through 7?
Oh, geez.
Pressure's on.
It's a little bit stuck in my brain. The first 2 I felt were a little bit rough.
Yeah.
I seem to remember. So, maybe a poodoo or a 1.5 poodoo, or I'm kind of confused by the scoring system, if I'm totally honest.
Okay, so one Pablo poodoo for episode 1, 1.5 for episode 2. Episode 3 was the flashback episode. That was the one that nobody liked here.
with the little kids when they were kids.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that episode.
Yeah.
The joy in your voice.
I don't know that we're really helping ourselves there.
For reference, I gave that 3 Pablo points. Just letting you know.
3 Pablos. Wow. All right. Let's go with 2 Poodoo.
2 Poodoos. Okay, 2 Poodoos. All right, episode 4.
I like the ones. I liked when Kimir showed up and killed everybody. That was great. Was that episode 4?
That was episode 5.
That was 5.
That was 5, but at the very end of 4, that's his entrance.
4
Episode
is the one where Kalnaka they find Kanaka is dead, and May is like basically said that she's gonna go give herself up.
Yeah.
Like so, they've all arrived on this planet, the forest planet.
Okay. I'm like in a fugue state trying to remember. Like maybe I remember less of the show than I thought. Okay, so 4 was maybe 1 Poodoo. Then it got really good. Let's say 2 Pablos, and then
right back down
to 1.5 Pablo for episode 6, and then we already said the last 2, I think.
I guess I got the last one. Your last one is a Pablo point, but the previous episode 7, what would you give that last week's episode?
Oh, sorry, I thought that was the show overall was a Pablo. Oh my goodness.
Pablo point?
Man, the pressure is on. I should have studied harder. Sure, let's give it a Pablo.
Pablo point. That was the second flashback episode, I guess, right?
Yeah. 7 was the second flashback.
Okay, cool. All right. Wow. It's interesting to see kind of the ups and downs that everyone's got, and we're still waiting for.
Them? You're gonna.
I could.
Show average from each person.
Yeah, we're still waiting for a few scores to come in from AJ, Bryce, and Ben. But so far, for anyone keen to see this on any podcast of ours, in the description box, just hit the podcast archives link, and it'll take you to a spreadsheet, and there's a tab called Pablo Points and Poodoos, or you can also go to the link tree, and there's going to be a link there as well to the podcast archives. And the first page is the podcast episode tracker, and the second tab is the Pablo Points and Poodoos tab, which now we're going to be using going forward. And the Star Wars Rebels tracker, for anyone going through Rebels Talk rewatch, is on tab 3. So there we have it. And man, that is the final episode. But hopefully we get some feedback from our audience as to whether or not you guys enjoyed this show. We would like to get some clue on whether or not everyone hated it or loved it. I mean, I know the internet hates it, but what did you think about it? We'd like send an email in, or feel free to send us a voice recording, and we'll maybe get you on the show. All right. Well, I think that's pretty much it. So maybe real quick, if we can just go around and just say what you would like to see going forward with the next show, Skeleton Crew. Kirk, any thoughts?
I want to see lots of space battles. That's what I want to see.
All right. Dan, what about you?
I don't know what I want to see.
Since all the press material say it's going to be like a Goonies, I just want it to be fun. Just a little more lighthearted, like old school Star Wars, just fun kids adventure.
Awesome. About you, Eli?
I try and stay away from spoilers and press releases and stuff before it comes out. I try and go in pretty blind, so I'm not super caught up, but I'm, like you say, something fun. Want to see lots of space battles. That'd be cool too. Let's just make it not too kiddie.
All right. Yeah. What's your take, Kyle?
Sorry, I was just talking. I'm just picking up my parachute right now. I don't know. For second season, I mean, I'm just picking. I skydive. I'm just picking up my parachute from the master packer, the master rigger.
Oh, that makes sense.
Oh, you should have done the podcast while you were skydiving down.
All you'd hear is. So yeah. Whatchamajiggers, in the second season, look, we've already know where their characters are going now, so it's going to be just a battle between sisters, I think, for the whole time. It's going to be this one did this to me, this one did that to me. I personally, I mean, I'll watch it, of course, because it's Star Wars, but I am not expecting a lot from this series.
All right. Fair enough. What about you guys? Nick, Shawna?
Wait, what time does this take place in?
It's like sort of post rebellion. It's in the New Republic era.
Oh, okay. It's like where like this ship is like stuck in space and they're trying
It's
to
like
get
a bunch of kids, a ship, a pilot. Yeah, we really
That
don't know
sounds
too
so
much.
I don't really know a lot about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
First rated R Star Wars show.
I feel like this has the potential to be like a low budget show with like one set and it's just the ship. And then like every episode is them just like doing stuff.
It's like a soap.
Yeah.
Like Frasier, but for Star Wars and for kids.
I mean,
Yeah.
hopefully, like, are they like completely lost in space? Is
I
that,
don't
is
know.
that the thing?
I don't know. We don't know anything about it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an adaptation of Lord of the Flies.
Lord of the Skies.
Oh, that's the title.
Oh, man.
Keep that for the podcast.
That would be interesting.
Shauna, what are your thoughts on that one?
I kind of hope it's similar to Rebels, but more of an adult version. So something
Yeah.
like everyone else, not too kiddish, but like, you know, we
That
get
sounds
that
like
kind
it.
of that crew and that
Stranger
camaraderie and,
Things.
like,
Right.
family that we get within Rebels.
Yeah.
That type of thing for the crew.
Sweet. Awesome. Kirk, I see somebody out the window who's got time for one question. He's climbing up our wall right now. I
Is
see
it
a
our
cowboy
favorite?
hat. I see a cowboy hat.
Is it our favorite? Is it our favorite Canadian?
Oh man, I think it's no, that's Pablo, dude. I think it's Dave Filoni.
Oh shit, it's Dave Filoni.
Oh wow, I was just about to ask a
it's
question about
it's
him.
fake Filoni. All right, wait, let's kill the music. Dave. What? Hey man.
Hey Dave.
David. How's it going, guys? Here, Dave, let me just give you the mic. Hey, what's up, Kirk?
Oh, Dave, it's good to hear. It's been a while. Last time I heard from you, you slept on a banana peel or something.
Yeah, you remember that. Yeah. All right, well, you got a question for me, hey?
Are you gonna come and have some donuts with me at Dex's Diner soon?
That's your question, huh? No. But I think George would.
Okay,
yeah.
actually,
All right, what's your actual question?
My question for you, Dave, is: will we ever see your hat canonically in an upcoming Star Wars show?
That is a great question, and the answer is yes. We're gonna see it in the Jedi Temple. There's a Jedi character I want to bring, Woody Harrelson, back, and he's just gonna wear it, and that's gonna be it. You know. All right. See you guys. I'm out. I'm out of here. Let me just step on the ladder here. Okay, well there he goes. Dave, no! Oh man, there he goes. He just fell. All right, well.
If only Kyle handed him his parachute.
Oh man, if only he had Kyle's parachute.
Oh, he's on his feet. We're good.
Oh, there we go.
All right, see you, Dave. He's all right. He's not. Yeah. Okay, cool. No, we're good. Thanks, Dave. For the question. All right. All right, thanks.
That was amazing.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And it's been a while since we heard from fake Filoni, so that was good. All right, thank you, Dan. Thank you, Eli and Kyle. Oh, Kyle, real quick. Where are you guys headed next?
San Diego Comic-Con. I'm going to be there leaving Tuesday.
My hometown.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll be there in San Diego on Tuesday.
Amazing.
Wait, that's your hometown?
Yep, I'm from San Diego.
Oh, okay, but you're not there right now, though.
No.
Oh, darn. I was gonna say, man, heck, let's go out and we'll go for a night walk. I'll dress up as Balin.
Sweet,
You're gonna
man.
have fun. San Diego Comic-Con, it's insane.
All the best.
This is my third year going. I can't wait.
All the best down there, and make sure you get a chance to ask some of those fans some of those questions, which we so love playing on the show. Say again?
Yeah, I said I'll definitely do that. I got you covered, man.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I still have a whole bunch from you that I still haven't played yet, just because we've had no time, but we'll get around to doing those. All right, thanks so much again, and good luck to ALKY Sabers at San Diego Comic-Con. Hope you guys have a good time down there. And
I do want to say before we go, we have a new thing that's coming out, and I will send you the pictures. But we have lightsaber necklaces.
Oh, what?
And we have Darth Malgus, we've got Star Killer, we've got Obi, we've got Annie, we've got the Dark Saber.
Dang.
And one other, I just can't think of it right now. And we're going to now be having those available to everybody too.
Fantastic. Thanks so much. Yeah, put a photo dump in the ALKY's chat, and so we can all see it. That'd be great.
Heck yeah, there we go. I'll do that right now.
All right. Sweet. Okay, thank you, Nick, and thank you, Shawna, for popping back on. And we will see you all in the next one. Hit it, Kirk.
And of course, until next time, you can come find me and Dave devouring a dozen delightful, dark, delicious donuts and diabolical dishes, whilst I, of course, down some diverse desserts and dynamic delights at Dex's Diner with Dark Dooku.
Amazing. Thank you so much. May the Force be with you guys. We'll see you in the next episode of Star Wars Escape Pod.